a little over 3 months ago when I decided that I was going to go ahead with this YouTube channel. I wrote down some pointers in the notes app on my phone, which essentially outlined the ethos of the channel. There were 3 points that I made in my notes app that, funny enough, I stumbled across yesterday. It gave me the idea to make this video. The first of the 3 things on the list was that I'd make this YouTube channel and I would document my running and also my thoughts of being a vegan, being sober, and using a meditation practice regularly. By doing these things, I would inevitably find gratitude in sort of my everyday life and activities, maybe gratitude that I was ignoring. In a way, these videos could act as a gratitude journal. So by simply acknowledging all of the little nitty-gritty details of my day-to-day, I would find a reason to be grateful for them all. The second thing on my list, on my notes app, was that I would document my training, my running training log. And hopefully over time I would record my progress and I would be able to aim for those PBs, and you guys could join me along the way and hopefully learn from my experience and be inspired. And the third and final thing on my list was that these videos I should say, will give me a chance to educate others. And I'm aware of the privilege I have in this situation to be able to use my free time to make these videos, to afford the editing software and to afford this camera in the first place. And I think I do have a responsibility. I think we all have a voice, but I think those that have the education and the opportunity, I do think that we have a obligation almost to spread our knowledge and to make education as free as possible. Hence my love for YouTube. I really do appreciate it as a mostly free place where people can learn, and I've learned a hell of a lot. So it brings me great joy to be a part of this community of content creators. So they're my 3. So gratitude, documenting my training log, and hopefully educating others. Now, quite interestingly, in the 3 months of making videos, I've learned a hell of a lot, not only of course about making videos and about YouTube, but also about myself. And I just wanted to make this quick video to document what I found exactly. I've realised I've probably been incredibly backlit, so I'm just going to turn around, head back into the sun. So I've just finished my marathon training block. It's been a hell of a sort of 12 weeks. I've been training since the start of this year, and in just under 3 months I've run about 850 kilometres. So I've averaged just over 10 kilometres a day of running. It's been a lot. And during that time I've had plenty of highs and lows, believe me, plenty of ups and downs. But it was only really last week when I finished my training block and started my taper, sort of the period of time where I rest up before my marathon in 2 weeks' time, did I realise how amazing the whole experience has been of doing this marathon training. And I was sort of saddened really to see that I'd been so caught up in making these videos and just getting out for all of those runs that I didn't really take the time to enjoy it as much as I would have liked to. And I think this is a really important thing to acknowledge. And ultimately, this comes with a huge reminder to me that whilst I'm proud of myself for making these videos and for, in air quotes, hustling on my running and, you know, in my work, I do think that by not enjoying it, it really loses its value. By it, I mean the process, I mean the journey. I think by focusing so much on the result, I think we can lose sight of the magic. And with that, I want to remind myself that running is purely fun for me. I've got this goal of the 250 marathon, but I realised that actually this marathon is more of a personal challenge for me, and I'm not sure it's something that I can share on YouTube per se. The reason I say that is because I think for me this is about overcoming something, and I think it's about celebrating almost a year off of alcohol and cigarettes, and I think it's less about talking about the splits and talking about you know, really the nitty-gritty details of the times. I hope that makes sense. So moving on to my second point, and that is to document the progress of my running. And I realise now that actually the subheadings that I made underneath that title, which were documenting my PBs and hopefully breaking them, and running longer distances and achieving more miles a week, I think I'd actually like to cross those out and erase them, because I think I realised that those aren't the things that are important to me. It's really important that instead I focus on consistency and patience and just enjoying each run, because I'm in an incredibly privileged position to stop when I want to stop. I consider myself to be disciplined, and believe me, when I'm doing this marathon in a couple of weeks, I'm going to be all pistons firing, head in the game. I'm going to be focused. But you know, I'm not going to get up tomorrow and just because my plan says I should run doesn't mean I'm going to run. Like, I have the agency and I have the voice to say no, actually don't fancy it today. And you know, there are a lot of people in a lot of places that don't have the opportunity to have that voice and to say no, I'm not going to do it, I'm going to save my energy. So I realised that there's a little bit of a reframing to be had there. Excuse me, my Birkenstock slipped off. Yeah, it's quite a common thing to be heard in East London these days. And finally, on to the third point of my notes, which was to educate others. Now, this one is quite an interesting development for me, and that is that I really saw myself in an opportunity to talk about things that perhaps others weren't so much on YouTube. There's some great running YouTube channels out there, and as I sat watching these videos for most of last year, I really thought I'd like to be a part of this community, and I'd like to partake in the sharing information and hopefully inspire others to get out and run. And early on I realised just how bloody difficult this is, and kudos to anyone that uploads videos to YouTube regularly, because it is incredibly time consuming. And despite my pre-existing knowledge of video and my background in photography, this all still takes me quite a lot of time, and it's taken me a lot of time to learn and to put into practice. So I will say that this isn't as easy as it looks. Let me rephrase that. The running videos that exist on YouTube aren't as easy as they look to make. Let me just say that. Kudos to all of you that make videos. And with that, I'd like to say that there has been a burning desire in me to see this channel grow. I really hoped that by talking about slightly esoteric subjects, like being a vegan athlete, being sober, and you know, using meditation in a, I guess, everyday, but also a running training context, I might be in a place to explore some unknown ground. And as I say, I hope this channel would grow, and it has. And to all of you that have subscribed, I thank you so much. But in the 3 months since posting my first video, I did hope to have reached a bit of a wider audience. But with that being said, I realised then that there was some more reframing that I needed to do. And that reframing, in my case, was to understand that it's less about the numbers, it's less about the subscribers, and it's more about, in me, retaining my passion to educate others, to share ideas, and to recognize the value in making great content. So that's been a really refreshing discovery actually to make, and I realized that in many ways the ego, I guess my inside voice of greed and power hunger, I should say, actually it's clouding my enjoyment of making these videos. And with that, I'd like to take some time between now and the day of my marathon just to re-establish and just to ground myself. I think it's really important to take time when needed, and I do believe that it's really important to be honest and transparent. And I will say that mentally and physically, of course, it's been a lot of training. I need a break, and I think it's really important to take that break when needed. So, as I say, there's been a lot of reframing, and there's been a lot of, I guess, difference in thought process, which has been really helpful for me. I feel like I've really grown throughout this experience. So once again, I'd just like to say thank you to everyone that supported the channel so far, for everyone that shared one of these videos, and for anyone that's just extended gratitude to myself, just to say thank you. And that benefited me, because those few messages that I've had have really meant so much to me. So guys, this channel will be on vacay, we'll be on holiday for a couple of weeks till the day of the marathon, which will likely be the next video on this channel. But until then, find gratitude, find peace, and I will see you in the next one.